scoured the sea to help find what aquatic Pokemon we'll be getting in Generation 10. Come along with me and we'll see what the sea life of Indonesia has to offer. That will give us a glimpse of what we can expect out of Pokemon Winds and Waves. Let's get into this. The first animal I found was manta rays. And with manta rays, we can expect to find Mantine and Mantike. Something I found out about manta rays is that they need constant movement to breathe, so they will always be swimming. The next animal I found in Indonesia was a parrotfish, and you'll know I like this one a lot. I already made a video on bruxfish and how hard that is to say. Something you need to know about parrotfish is that their patterns, sexes, and colors can change throughout time, meaning you can meet the same parrotfish twice and it'll be nothing like the last time. Something you're going to see in the oceans of Indonesia is coral, and with coral we get corsola. Corsola? However you want to say it. Coral aren't just tropical and warm water creatures. They can also be found more than a mile deep. Deep sea coral colonies have been found to be 4,000 years old. Something that's found in a lot of places throughout the world are sharks, and I found hammerhead sharks. And you know what that means? Garchomp. Garchomp is a fan favorite, but something about hammerhead sharks is the largest schools of hammerhead sharks recorded were over thousands of individuals, observed many times around the Galapagos Islands. This cute little guy here is called a mola mola. Not a mola mola, a mola mola. Also known as a sunfish. A mola mola. A mola mola. Like, that's just fun to say there, all right? But there's a fact that goes along with them. With a mola mola, is they're called sunfish because sailors often see them sunbathing. Let's bring it around to sea slugs. What sea slugs mean? We get gastrodon. Some species of sea slugs can eat the algae and retain the chloroplasts and use them to photosynthesize. So why are these guys 4 times weak to grass? All right, seahorses. Along the reef and in other waters, we found seahorses. Seahorses are going to mean we're going to get horsey and dragalge. The dwarf seahorse moves... Okay, this one, okay, I did good math on this one. The dwarf seahorse moves at about 5 feet per hour. They propel themselves along with a fin. One little fin on their back. This fin flutters up to 35 times per second. That's 25,000 flutters per foot. Okay, quickly. Okay, this one's done. Now we're on to sea stars. What did I put for sea stars? Staryu, obviously. And one I did not even realize was a form of sea star, and that's Toxapex. They call them sea stars, but do you know how they see? They have unique eye spot light sensors on the tips of their arms. Do I have to make that face? Am I stuck making that face? Is this my face? All right, let's go, okay. Dugongs. If you don't understand what Pokemon that's bringing, maybe you're not a real Pokemon fan. All right, anyways, an observation about dugongs is it's basically an elephant that lives in the water and eats seagrass. We're going to have eels, meaning we're getting huntail. We're going to get huntail and gorbis. Let's move along from eels. No, there's plenty of schooling fish, including sardines, which are herring, so we'll see the return of wishy-washy. Sardines and herrings can repopulate quickly. Females can release 10 to 40,000 eggs at a time and often spawn multiple times per season. The eggs hatch in roughly 3 days. That way of hatching eggs sounds much better than hatching eggs like this. Catfish. There's also catfish all around Indonesia. Something weird I found out about catfish is they basically have taste buds all over their entire body. Can you imagine bumping into someone and tasting that they haven't showered in 3 days? Or bumping into a bathroom wall? I'm going to move along because this makes me not think of nice things. Another animal you find everywhere that there's water is crabs. So we're going to get crabrawler, kinkler, and cloth. You know, crabs will pretty much just grab anything you hand them. Oh, otters. Doesn't everybody like these adorable guys? Now, I know it's named after a weasel, but it's a water weasel, which is an otter, in floatzel, and weasel. And weasel, and weasel. Weasel. Buoyant weasel. Weasel. Buoyant weasel. Something amazing about otters is they can close their ears while diving, meaning they don't have to hear that the next Pokemon is octopus. There's plenty of octopus around the Indonesian waters. So we could see Graplocked and Octillery. The octopi brain runs throughout its entire body, not just inside the main part of it. So that means when an arm is provided stimuli, it can make decisions on its own. Decisions on what actions to take, not decisions on whether shrimp are sea life or bugs. Shrimps are bugs. I don't care what you say. Now, because we have shrimp in this part of the ocean, we're going to be getting Clawitzer again. In some of the other waters around Indonesia, we're going to see pond skaters. Pond skaters mean we get Surskit. Pond skaters are covered in a waxy water repellent coating and eat mosquitoes. That's good. No. And they eat mosquito larvae. Other things I found while diving were sea snakes. The only thing that's really a sea snake in Pokemon is Milotic, so I hope we get that. Real life sea snakes breathe through their skin, so they need specialized glands to expel salt. In these salty waters, you'll also find jellyfish. Jellyfish means we get Tentacruel and Jellicent. But every time I read this, it's kind of silly. Jellyfish have only one opening, meaning they have to eat and do everything else out of the same hole. On the seabed around here, you're going to find flatfish. So just like every game, we're going to get Stunfisk. Some flatfish are born with their eyes on both sides of their heads, and as they mature, one of their eyes migrates to the other side. You normally see flatfish, flounder, and halibut, the two eyes on one side on the top part of their head when they're laying down in the thing, but they're not always that way. They're not always as cool looking as Barracuda, meaning we're getting Barracuda back. I mean, Barracuda are pretty cool, aren't they? Now, enough with the playing around. Let's get right into the next animal, and that's clams. And with clams, we're getting Shelder and Cloyster and Clampearl. But we're already getting Clampearl, considering the eels we're getting are Huntail and Gorbis. Did you know clams can live for months outside of the water by closing their shells really tightly? We're going to move out of the water a little bit to reptiles, amphibians, and other lizards. There are tons of different kinds of pythons around Indonesia, and the closest thing I can really find to a python is arbok. Now we have other snakes, but they more resemble like coral snakes and poisonous and rattlesnakes and such, which we don't have in this area. Something really intimidating around Indonesia is crocodiles, meaning we could get crocodile and crocorock. This is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. An interesting fact about crocodiles is that they actually cool themselves down by sitting with their mouths open like this. So when they're laying there with their mouths open, they're actually not trying to trap anything or get clean. They're literally just breathing out hot air because they don't have sweat glands. Bro's got hot breath. Let's move on to frogs. Everywhere where it's humid and wet and moist, there's frogs. We're going to see tons of Pokemon frogs. I mean, I'll just put them up on screen. If you don't know who these are, you're going to get to know them. Some species of frogs shed their skin regularly and then often eat it. This cute little guy eats his own skin. Okay, there's an animal around Indonesia that's extremely photogenic. And I did not realize how photogenic it was until I started looking it up, and that's geckos. Since there's going to be a desert area, I guess we might end up getting Heliolisk. Here's something to know about geckos is that morning geckos can reproduce without males through parthenogenesis. They basically clone themselves. All right, next. Chameleons. Outside of the water and kind of back into the trees, but related more to reptiles, is chameleons. There's two Pokemon that share their names with chameleons, and we're not going to talk about one of them, but we are going to talk about Kecleon, who's an actual chameleon. Real-life chameleons' bones exhibit fluorescence, which means they glow under UV light. Can your bones glow? Next one is salamanders. There's two salamander Pokemon, and we're not going to talk about one of them. We're going to talk about Slowpoke. Did you even know Slowpoke was a salamander? There's a good chance that Slowpoke doesn't have lungs, because 2/3 of all salamanders don't have lungs and just breathe through their skin. Next up is newts. And technically newts are salamanders, but I like to separate them. So we can get Salazzle. Some newts can produce a fire-resistant foaming mucus on their skin to protect from heat and flames. Okay, next on the list is turtles. And the only turtle I think we're going to be getting that's not a first partner Pokemon is Dreadnought, because I don't know how they're going to handle fossils in this game. Sea turtles also have a specialized gland that allows them to excrete excess salt. They cry salty tears. Like you're going to cry when you find out that this Pokemon is not in the game. Now, I dove to the deepest part of the Indonesian Sea for this one. I only found 2 more Pokemon down there. One of them is the football or anglerfish, which means we'll be getting Lantern and Chinchou. Bioluminescence in a football fish's lure actually comes back from bacteria. that emit light. In shining a light into the deep seas of Indonesia, we found a coelacanth, which is what this Pokemon is based off of. These deep sea dwellers have hinged structure at the base of their skull that allows them to swing quickly to snatch up prey. I was supposed to come up with a door joke for this, like the door's ajar, and I got nothing. How many door jokes can we come up with that have to do with mouths? Mouth, jaw, head, swinging head, door joke. I got nothing for this one. If you agree with me, or disagree with me, or learned anything in this video, please drop me a sub, cause my next videos are going to be about culture Pokemon, flora Pokemon, and kaiju Pokemon that you'll find in Pokemon Waves and Pokemon Winds. Let's get into this. All right. I scour the sea. Oh, yeah. Okay. Whoo. All right. Done with that. Bring it in, buddy. You got this. Don't look at yourself. Look at the camera. We can edit the camera. We can edit this out. We don't really have to talk like that, do we?